in England, I had two thoughts. The first one was you were very self-conscious, and an audience loves when you're honest. I've found, like, when you go, I don't know why the kid's Jamaican, all of a sudden you're like, I was hoping it was Al Snowman. And you're like, I don't know, suddenly the kid's Jamaican. It's like this, it was this floating accent that you were aware of and you let the audience in on. They love that stuff. I know from experience. And the second thing I thought is, I never fucking played England. Who's this asshole? I was jealous.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Full house for Mick Foley. And I was like, God, that's a nice room. That's about 280 people.
Leicester Square, about 350.
Leicester Square.
And I ended up at that show. I'd had the best experience. Like the night before, I loved it. Friday night, Saturday early show, and I went into that late show, that was the one that was filmed, thinking I'm really going to tear it down. When I went out there, it was different. You'd know this from, I was still am relatively new. I didn't realize when I got back, and I was like, God, it may have been a Friday night late show, maybe been a Thursday followed by 2 Friday shows. And man, I really took it hard. I was like, what the hell happened? Like, even when I said how many wrestling fans out there, I was like, the participation wasn't there. They weren't getting the subtleties. And one of the guys said that Steve Martin's book starts out by saying, when people ask him why did he stop comedy, he's like 3 words, Friday Late Show. And it's like, well, what's the difference?
Show Friday. Yeah, that's what I named my first album.
Is it really?
Because I actually caught lightning in a bottle at Rascals in West Orange, New Jersey. And Second Show Friday. It was an hour. I didn't touch it. I just pressed it and put it out because I was like, that never happens. It was crazy great. But Second Show Fridays are horrible.
Because of the drinking, right?
Yeah.
And in the UK, it's worse because I was doing
because they're alcoholics,
and I would see the Twitter like, oh, I'm gonna get knackered to see Mick Foley. No, like 1 or 2.
Have a couple pops while you're there.
Don't get knackered.
Don't pregame
yelling out.
You're not seeing a Browns game like we're in the dog pound, bro. We're gonna show up hammered.
But that's what some people think the experience is going to be, based on ECW.
For everyone listening, comedy is a monologue. We do not need your help. And you're not helping. And here's what my rule is: if someone's yelling out because they're having such a great time, I let them in easy. Like, I don't want you to get thrown out, bro.
Yeah.
Because then now I'm on his side.
Yeah.
And then I can go, bro, you're gonna get thrown out. You gotta stop. You have to shut the fuck up, dude. Like, because I've already established that. But if you're just like, fucking, whatever. Roddy Piper would have whooped your ass in his prime, because he's doing comedy too. That's not helping. You're never helping. It's a monologue. Let Mick talk and go see him. You are actually funny. I was really impressed, and it was such an easy thing to go, oh, this is so embarrassing. I'm about to talk about this guy's quote stand-up career. You know what I mean?
Well, going back to Brendan, he was trying to figure out. I was telling him, man, it's hard for me to get the same people who will wait in line for a couple hours for an autograph to come spend the same money, get the same autograph, but sit down for a couple hours and enjoy a show. I did an appearance and a comedy show in Plattsburgh, New York, and the appearance, maybe 250 people there. And I would ask these people, the appearance, hey, you coming to the comedy show? These people already showed they were big enough fans of mine to stand in line for a couple hours. And I could see them getting nervous, like they were creating lies that I knew were lies, reasons why they couldn't come.
They were afraid you'd be bad?
They were afraid I'd be bad. It's uncomfortable.
I'll tell you another reason why.
Let's hear it.
I got the autograph. Why do I want to sit still for an hour? I already got what I came for.
And I learned that when I went to the show, and I did the VIP thing, for people who had paid a little extra. They came in before the show, and must have had 70 people in the VIP. I come out to do the show. There's less than 50. I was like, where did everyone go? And they said they got the autograph and left. Yeah. Because that's what they were there for. But that was a night in July.
They're going to see Rob Van Dam across town do comedy.
They're going to a barbecue. All right, pal. They're going to a barbecue. Let's be reasonable. But I hit on enough things that night, July, last 15 months ago, where I thought, you know what? If I don't at least pursue this, I have something here. If I don't pursue it,
Mick, if you just tell the stories that have happened to you, you can do this for the rest of your life.
Thanks.
I'm telling you, because it's super. And the non-wrestling fans, if you can just get a festival or hook up with the headliner and do a co-headlining thing, it's just great to hear a guy tell stories because you never tried to be something you weren't, which I think is probably why you're so famous. Like you've transcended wrestling. You're like the most famous wrestler. Your name is synonymous with like, oh, excitement. And your name is just excitement. And it's because you've never bullshitted anybody. Even in your heel stuff, when you're being a heel, you were still you having fun. And for some reason, when I watch it, and I think when everybody watches it, they know you're in on it. And that's all we want to know.
Speaking of being a heel, did you know I didn't know you were a comedian until about 3 years after Jerry Maguire.
Yeah. It's a big shadow.
When I saw
it's like being Rutger Hauer.
But it was a great... Did you get that a lot?
Yeah, like I hate... Everyone just thinks I'm such a dick all the time.
It was a great role, man.
It was. I wish I did it now. You've been a heel a lot. I like in Japan, they call you the tsunami stopper. Like they have to give you another... Like you're... Of all the guys that doesn't need another nickname...
Were they calling me the tsunami stopper in Japanese?
That's what it said in your
it could be. I just didn't know
Wikipedia page. You don't look like for a guy with 3 billion stitches in your face.
I don't look bad, right?
You look really good.
There was a time when I was looking really rough. I mean, I got out of wrestling
Beyond the Mat days.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Beyond the Mat. I think I look younger now than I did.
You do
then, and when I returned to
Botox,
no, definitely not. Nothing.
Ball lift.
No ball lift.
No.
No. Do they offer such a thing? It's in your notes. The ball lift.
Right here. Mean Gene Okerlund. Ask him about Mean Gene Okerlund naked. Tsunami stopper. Ball lift. Very painful ball lift surgery. Says it right here. Beyond the Mat was fascinating because you had Jake the Snake Roberts like smoking crack and being completely dysfunctional and not seeing or seeing his daughter.
That was crazy.
And then the surprise star was you because you just couldn't wait to call Colette, your wife. Not collect. I don't want that to sound like call collect. Your wife, Colette. You couldn't wait to call your wife and see your kids. And in this madness of the Jake the Snakes and the Terry Funks, suddenly there was this guy that was... It was dude love. It was all about love. And no matter what happened in the ring, right when you got off the show, you couldn't wait to embrace those that you loved. And you became like the de facto... I think you were like the accidental superstar of that documentary. I think because everybody loves negativity. Twitter, the internet, they love to boo a heel. And suddenly you're watching a documentary, you're like, look how fucked up Jake the Snake is. This is awesome. And then you're hugging your kid, and it's like, oh, I like, something in me likes this more. I'm not sure how I feel. When you saw the movie, did you think that, did you think it was, okay, when you watched Beyond the Mat, did you go, wow, I come out looking great in this?
Well, here's the director. This is touchy because Vince McMahon never liked the movie. He thought he kind of took away.
You're fired.
Vince, for all his complexities, he really does believe that what we do is like second only to curing diseases when it comes to taking people's minds off their problems, especially in a tough economy. I guess he loves the escapism that it provides. He didn't like the idea that you look behind the curtain and the guys there's some real pain there. But at the time that the movie was made, the movie started like in '95 when I was supposed to be the guy who had like a little taste of stardom in WCW and when that was now back to the grind of the independents. And so luckily, things, my fortunes changed a little bit. And the director said he was talking to Vince about who he was going to use in the movie. And when Barry Blaustein said Mick Foley, Vince was really intrigued, like, why? He said
that Mick hadn't come around to you yet.
He hadn't, because I was Mankind there. And he said, because, Mick, the real Mick Foley is a lot more interesting than the character you have him portraying. And, you look at the guys that Vince was listing as the stars, they're not there anymore. They didn't even make a dent. Ahmed Johnson, and not to be mean because he's a good guy and helps a lot of people. Mark Merrow was supposed to be a big star. So it was, it was really unusual. And this movie came about and was showing me, when I had made it to the top, but didn't know where I was going to go from there.
Right.
So I had a chance to see it at a film festival a little less than a year ago. And I no question. I mean, I looked like I was
a year ago.
I saw it a year ago. I mean, I'd seen it. I'd seen it along the way. And the director, he really liked me, thought I was a good dad, and he was concerned that people would see this movie with me, my kids watching me, just getting devastated by The Rock, and that people would come out of it thinking that I was a bad guy and a bad person. That's why he came to Florida and showed me the clip. I had no idea, because when I saw my kids after the match, it was like 20 minutes after the fact, and my daughter's like, "Daddy, I think you have a boo-boo." There's a great, I said, "Yeah, just a little boo-boo." "Daddy, it looks like a big boo-boo." "Yeah, it's a big boo-boo, honey. It's a big boo-boo." But I didn't see them when they were, tears streaming down their faces. And there's that scene in the movie where he comes to Florida and he shows me the scene of my kids bawling their eyes out. And I just, that's not what I wanted to be. There's a line.
Oh, it made you want to quit.
Yeah, earlier in the documentary, I said, I don't want to be known as the guy who pulls the sock out of his pants, in reference to Mr. Sacco. And then I looked at that footage and I went, maybe I will be the guy who pulls the sock out of his pants.
Less bleeding.
Yeah.
What's it like to watch you? Because I know what it's like to watch myself as someone else, but it's got to be so surreal to be in a movie and you're just you.
Yeah.
And then, like you're the star of a movie, but it's your actual. It's a reality show, but on the big screen. It's more legit than any reality show. How surreal.
Yeah, and it's probably the only time I'll ever be at a theater. Went with my older kids, when they were much younger, when it had its run in the theaters. So I'll never be in a situation where I'm, aside from the film festival years later. But there won't be another film that I can think of where I'll be watching myself with my family. It was surreal. It was very powerful, and it was. I would run into people all the time. For example, when Al Snow and I went to the End of Days premiere with Schwarzenegger, there was about 20 women, and they were like talking amongst themselves. I could see they were talking about me, and they came up and they said, "We were part of a focus group at Universal. We're not wrestling fans, but we saw Beyond the Mat, and we think you're a great father." Despite the fact that I have my worst fathering moment on film, right. I came across like a pretty good father. You know Judah Friedlander, right?
Yeah,
and Judah,
world champion.
Yeah, Judah's awesome, and he invited me onto the set of 30 Rock. He introduced me to Alec Baldwin, and Alec I didn't.
Mick, I'm a big fan of yours.
He was really excited. He was.
Every woman bows in my wake. Are you going to finish that? I'm just saying, if you're not going to finish it, I'll eat it. Sorry. I have like ADD with impressions. Obsessive compulsive impression vomiting. So Alex
It was excited, Alec. Very excited. He kept asking me how my kids were. Are the kids okay? Have they come through that? And he didn't know that the movie was 10 years old. He thought Judah had showed it to him. And he thought, my kids were still traumatized, picking off people from the tower and,
for a guy with 3 billion stitches, you don't look like a Tori Amos fan.
Yeah, it's a compliment, right? Yeah, Tori. The history there.
I'm going to get into it because it's very important to me.
Yeah.
You, I guess, teamed up with Tori, and you logged over 550 hours answering phones for the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, also known as RAIN.
Yeah.
And I can't make a big enough deal about that because I'm in Hollywood, right? Where celebrities, like, they have telethons to fucking spay and neuter your pet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's nice. Next time you see a homeless veteran laying in his piss, wearing a Keyshawn Johnson New York Jets jersey, show him your new cat, and he'll tell you you're doing God's work. As Sean Penn once famously said, when in doubt, go human.
Right.
And I didn't know that about you until I did a little digging, and which also speaks to your character, that you don't walk around with a sign saying, "Look at all the charity work I do." I don't think enough people are logging 550 hours. Like I'll sign up for it right now, especially for rape and incest and abuse victims, and that's a big deal. And you've transcended wrestling. Your name's synonymous with excitement and good. Everyone's happy to see you.
Thanks.
You're a rolling Ringling Brothers party, whether you like it or not. But then once you peel the onion a little bit, you go, "Oh wow, we know you're a family man from the movie Beyond the Mat, and then these children's books, A Most Miserable Christmas, of course, by Mick Foley." And then you realize how much work you put into rain.
The only slight difference there is I was the online hotline volunteer.